Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching My Media Prime Television. This is the 6:30 p.m. edition of News Live from Douala, Cameroon's economic capital. My name is Fon Quinter. The news starts now. The regional conference on solutions to forced displacement related to conflict in the Central African Republic opened yesterday in Yaoundé. The three-day conference is co-hosted by the government of Cameroon and the United Nations Refugee Agency. Audrey Zadza completes the story.
Three-day regional ministerial conference, which opened at the Yaoundé Conference Center on April 25, is to enable experts to come up with sustainable solutions to the armed conflict in the Central African Republic. The opening ceremony was presided over by the Minister of External Relations, Lejeune Bamenda, in the presence of Territorial Administration Minister Noel Tamnjong and Central African counterparts in charge of refugees issues, officials of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, United Nations agencies, and the African Union under the patronage of President Paul Biya. This comes in a context where Central African refugees are in greater need of guidance and support in host countries. According to figures reviewed, at least 1.3 million persons were forced to move to other African countries like Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo, Chad, due to the crisis in the Central African Republic, with Cameroon alone being home to 343,548 refugees, or 46% of the total population. Though they are being provided shelter, education and food, problems linked to their management remain.
The challenges linked to the management of refugees can be put in four categories: security challenges, humanitarian challenges, socio-economic challenges, and legal challenges.
These refugees are equally called upon to be law-abiding.
It is also important to caution refugees to respect the laws enforced by the host country as well as the customary rights of host communities. In addition, the strategic issues linked to the management of refugees must be addressed now, that is, by our respective governments and the High Commission for Refugees. This can only be done if we all put in place long-lasting solutions.
Minister Lejeune Bamenda, on his part, calls on all actors involved to contribute their own quota to resolve the refugee managerial issues,
which undoubtedly shall enable each of us, particularly the state member and our development partners, to contribute our own quota in view of improving on the care provided to forcibly displaced nationals of the Central African Republic. It is very important for the state involved to bear in mind that our regional strategy should, as of necessity, be aligned with current social, economic, and technological advancements.
After their 72 hours of thematic working groups, experts are expected to adopt a joint declaration dubbed the Yaoundé Declaration.
The Minister of Trade has banned the exportation of some consumer products in the East region of Cameroon. This comes after an appeal from the East Regional Delegate of Trade following a considering hike in prices. Cynthia Azanu with details.
Minister of Trade Luke Magwambaga Atangana on the 24th of April 2022 took a measure to ban the export of several consumer products from the country's eastern region to other countries. In a letter to the governor of the East region, a region bordering the Republic of Congo and the Central African Republic, Mbaga Atangana asked the immediate control measures to be taken to suspend the export of cement, refined oil, wheat flour, and rice. Cameroon has already faced shortages of consumer products since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic in March 2020. The country has seen the phenomenon worsen in the context of the current Russian-Ukraine crisis, as 50% of Cameroon's wheat imports were dependent on Russia and Ukraine, according to government figures. However, this measure comes as several other products were banned from export to European countries last week, although for other reasons. These include mangoes, pawpaw, guavas, pepper, eggplant, and tomatoes. Cameroon is on the list of countries banned from exporting certain agricultural products to the European Union, according to a note from the European Commission in charge of phytosanitary legislation. In a letter dated 18 April 2022, addressed to the heads of phytosanitary police stations at the ports of Douala and Kribi, Yaoundé International Airport and the Postal Service, it should be noted that the fruit is accused of having been exposed to certain species and types of flies. The European Union says the only way to remedy the situation at present is to apply a systematic approach or post-harvest treatment to ensure that the exported product is free of the pests.
Now, in prelude to the celebration of the 136th edition of the Labour, the Minister of Labour and Social Security granted a press conference in Yaoundé yesterday. The day is commemorated this year under the theme Combating COVID-19, Safeguarding Jobs and Ensuring Productivity. Mwanzi Njoyogo completes the story.
National Labour Day, also known as Workers' Day in most countries around the globe, is a celebration for the working class that is promoted by the International Labour Movement. In this light, Cameroon's Minister of Labour and Social Security, Grégoire Owona, made a press declaration in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, about the Labour Day celebration in the days ahead. He made mention of the fact that the upcoming observance is an opportunity to access the progress made in regards to decent working conditions and social justice.
Dear stakeholders of the labor world, the celebration of 136th edition of the International Labour Day is an opportunity for us to access the progress made in the promotion of decent work and social justice despite the COVID-19 pandemic that has upset the labor world.
According to the minister, with the numerous changes taking place in the labor world, Cameroon must seize these changes and turn them into opportunities.
Considering the changes affecting the labor world, we must therefore remain mobilized more than ever in order to turn them into greater opportunities.
He ended his speech by encouraging dialogue in the working milieu so as to boost social productivity.
Coming up next, the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development has inaugurated a cocoa treatment and processing unit in Kribi South region of the country. He was in the Ocean Division over the weekend for this exercise. Get details in this report. With his visit to the Ocean Division of the South region, Minister Gabriel Mbairobi's first bus stop was a Logbati, where he inaugurated a cocoa treatment and processing unit at Sima Farm Corporation Eko Titanye.
You know, the head of state asked us to modernize our agriculture. And in cocoa cultivation, the most important is after the harvest, you have 10 days to master the quality of the beans. So here we have all the modernized, all the technical and the tools to conduct in a right way when we want to have a good quality.
While targeting the youth as focal point of this project, the impact goes beyond the environmental and economic aspects, given it is a modern, complex and robust cocoa production.
The next vision is actually transforming cocoa beans into two products, cocoa butter and cocoa powder, to give more value for the ton of the cocoa.
Going by the origin of the project, we are told it is an initiative which has been passed from father to son, who uses this in paying the former tribute.
By receiving here the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, we are very honored to see that he has recognized that what we are trying to do here is in the trend of what himself, the minister, wants us to do, and that it is the trend of what the head of state, His Excellency Paul Biya, has instructed the whole population, and especially the youth, to do.
The project, which will benefit the population of the Ocean Division in several aspects, falls in line with the head of state's vision of prioritizing agriculture in Cameroon. Over in the southwest region, the high rate of traffic congestion in the city of Buea is a call for concern. To this effect, municipal authorities in Buea have been finding lasting solutions to the problem. Emmanuel Assi with details.
Buea, chief town of the southwest region, has over the past years witnessed a lot of infrastructural development, ranging from the construction of houses and roads. With a massive influx of the population into the town of Lendoji hospitality due to the Anglophone crisis, the high rate of traffic congestion is a call for concern.
The traffic here we have here in Buea, it's like disturbing us, especially us the taxis here in Buea. We are calling or we are begging for the hierarchy, the authority here in Buea, for them to see how they can create awesome of road, Cali University to Malingo Junction, later to Village Junction, or the other one here at Mayor Street. So we are really begging them to see what has they can solve our problem here in Buea. When it comes to road or the traffic here in town. So we are really begging, and we know, and we are begging on them. And we hope on them, and we know that they'll give us their best when they hear our cries.
It is Tuesday, 7:30 a.m. at Checkpoint Moliko, where the traffic is already tight as people begin tackling their day-to-day activities. Perhaps an indicator that the regional capital needs more roads. In order to ease the circulation of cars and pedestrians, some new roads have been constructed to confirm the saying that where a road passes, development follows. There is already serious business taking place around the newly constructed stretch of roads from GTHS Moliko to Malingo. The same at the newly constructed Mayor Street, where the people confirm that one good turn deserves another. The Buea Council has been at the center of the construction of these roads. According to the municipal landlord, David Mafani Namange, more projects are in the pipeline.
We shall be a macro projects like more water points. We have some roads in the municipality because we agree with me that circulation has become an issue. So we are going to make better for usage some of the municipal roads.
To make the city of Lendoji hospitality a hospitable town.
The moderator of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, Right Reverend Fon Quinter, has inaugurated the Presbyterian Health Complex in Bamenda, northwest region of the country. Charles Akeba was there. He now reports.
It was a busy weekend for the moderator of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, PCC, Right Reverend Fon Quinter, accompanied by the Synod Clerk, Reverend Mickey Hans, April 23, 2022 in Bamenda, to inaugurate the Presbyterian Hospital, and Sunday, April 24th, commissioned the Mesam South Presbytery Executive into office, as well institute the Presbyterian Secretary and Pioneer Parish Pastor of PC Azri, Reverend Usu Teresa Benze. Both events bringing together Christians from across the country, religious, civil, and other dignitaries. Saturday, April 22nd, inauguration of the Presbyterian Health Complex Bamenda, where psychological, physical, and spiritual healing will be paramount. The Right Reverend Fon Quinter, moderator of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, assured the PCC is holding on her tradition of quality and holistic inclusive health for all.
We have to bring in everybody. It will be for the poor, the rich, the old and the young, and the children. It's a facility that we want that everybody should feel comfortable when they come here. And as I said, they should be treated as kings and queens. And so it's a facility, an inclusive facility that does not mind whether you're Catholic or Presbyterian or you're full gospel or Muslim.
In the presence of the Canadian High Commissioner, Richard Ballet, who cut the inauguration ribbon, was thankful for the great effort the PCC is putting into offering quality health, unlike the Secretary General at the Northwest Governor's Office. The Presbyterian Hospital Bamenda, with 70 beds, has come to add to other health services in providing vital services.
We have the possibility of expanding including other vital services. At the moment, we are having a 70-bed hospital that runs both a full-fledged eye hospital with full-time surgical services and all sort of eye care that we can take up. We also have a general medicine section that runs all the services that are needed in the general medicine department of the hospital.
The Bamenda 2 Council, through its mayor, Chenwi Peter, promised to pay bills for the first 100 patients. Gifts were equally handed to internally displaced persons, giving them hope for better days. Sunday, April 24th, institution and induction of the Presbyterian Secretary from Mezam South Presbytery and Pioneer Parish Pastor of PC Azri, Reverend Usu Teresa Benze. She was challenged by the moderator of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon to work with her team and promote spiritual growth of the Christians. Reverend Usu Teresa Benze, appreciative of having taken over office, said,
I leave it to God. But for the event, I want to say thank you to Almighty God for giving me this opportunity to serve His people in the South Presbytery. I know as a new presbytery is not easy. It will come with its own challenges. But once you allow God to lead the way, then whatever challenge that comes our way, we are sure that we surmount it all. Only to His glory and honor the Lord.
The Mezam South Presbytery comes out of the Grand Mezam Presbytery after a senior decision. The presbytery has 23 congregations and over 8,000 Christians. Amongst the many activities took service, a special traditional regalia, Togo, was offered the moderator and the synod clerk.
The participants who took part in the November 2021 MEFCUDA workshop have been called to use the knowledge acquired to impact their communities. The call was made by the governor of the Southwest region while presiding over the award of attestations to over 250 participants more, with Kuma on the way.
Over 250 participants who took part in the 8th edition of the MEFCUDA workshop that held on the month of November 2021 at the Inyo Training Center, Umbe, have been awarded attestations of participation. The award ceremony, which took place at the Asti Conference Hall in the University of Buea, saw the participation of the representative of the governor of the Southwest region, Mr. Jacques Ewane, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Buea, Professor Horace Ngomo, as well as the Divisional Officer for Limbe 1 Subdivision, Inonsten Moni Nanje. Addressing participants, the vision bearer and chairman of MEFCUDA, Chief Henry Ndiko Fonderson, expressed satisfaction to all those who took part in the workshop and urged them to transfer the knowledge gained for the communities to be impacted. He, however, expressed delight to the management of the University of Buea to have permitted over 100 students to participate in the workshop. The high point of the event was the signing of a partnership agreement with the University of Buea, which will permit the University of Buea to participate in all MEFCUDA events and formalize cooperations in the areas of research, training, and logistics.
Important to mention that we have always been collaborating with the University of Buea in our events. The capacity building workshop, which occurred in the month of November 2021, UB played a very particular role because it did not only authorize the students to come and gain knowledge, which was being transferred by some ministerial departments, but it also accompanied us in certain other aspects.
The chairman of the organizing committee, Chief Henry Ndiko Fonderson, used this occasion to disclose to the public the calendar of activities for the 9th edition of MEFCUDA 2022, which includes the MEFCUDA National Under-20 Football Tournament, the MEFCUDA National Musical Peace Caravan to tour all 10 regions in the nation to sing for peace, love, and harmony, the MEFCUDA Handicraft Village Display, and MEFCUDA Cultural Festival, all expected to take place this year.
We have a calendar of activities for 2022. We are in the second quarter. We have the calendar, quarterly calendar. After this, there are some other events. The MEFCUDA National Under-20 Football Tournament is around the corner. The MEFCUDA National Peace Caravan. The MEFCUDA National Musical Peace Caravan. which is a tour of all the 10 regions by some musicians who are going to sing for peace and harmony and love, is also in the pipeline.
The Member of Parliament for Bafotuba constituency in the Northwest region, Honorable Ago Olivia, has donated medication worth 30 million to the needy population of Bafotuba. The drugs are to be administered to patients free of charge, as Charles Akeba tells us.
The Member of Parliament for Bafotuba constituency, Mesam Division of the Northwest, Honorable Ago Oliver, who embarked to assist the poor and vulnerable, has donated medications worth 30 million FCFA to the needy population of Bafut and Tuba subdivisions. Amongst the medications received are those for the treatment of malaria and typhoid, varieties of large-spectrum antibiotic for children and adults, antifungal drugs, anti-inflammatories, high blood pressure drugs, different varieties of anti-hypertensive drugs, etc., etc. The MP, accompanied by Elder Sister Dr. Marie Noel Atanga, handing over the medications Friday, April 22, 2022, to the resident doctor of Bafut and Tuba health districts, including water filters, said the medications from top-performing Italian pharmaceutical industries are to be administered free of charge to vulnerable, hard-to-reach and poor needy patients in the Bafotuba constituency.
We are there to make sure that their health situation very stable, that they are healthy at all times. So our eyes are continuously on the field to see at whatever interval we can come in for intervention.
The Bafut and Tuba resident doctors, grateful of the MP's intervention, indicates the medication will reduce the plight of the patients, many of whom are unable to pay their medical bills.
I really want to start by appreciating the Honorable for this wonderful gesture. I think it's a timely intervention in a context where there's a lot of poverty and people come to the hospital, of course, needing health care, which is, of course, their primary need. You cannot chase them out of the hospital even if they don't have a franc. So with this donation, I think it's going to go a long way to help us work comfortably by giving the appropriate care which we need to give to our patients.
First of all, thank Honorable Oliver for this kind gesture that is doing to the food, these medications and the water filter. You know, we are in a period of cholera, and this can only come in very handy, and for that we are very grateful. These medications are meant to be given free of charge to the have-nots, those who are needy. And in the context in which we are, these people are many. And so we can only assure the Honorable and his family who are behind this great gesture that we are going to put these medications into good use and serve the population.
It should be noted, Honorable Ago Oliver's gesture to Bafotuba poor and vulnerable to cater for their health comes 2 weeks after the MP's assistant to an old 77 years widow in Bafut providing her bed needs and medical follow-up.
Coming up next, a get-together dinner to appreciate those who took part in the Bamboozler Movie Project was organized over the weekend in Douala by the producer of the film, Dr. Belinda Babila. It was an opportunity for her to thank those who put in efforts to make the project a success. Emanuela Moni with details.
According to the producer of the movie, Dr. Belinda Babila, on her own, she couldn't have achieved such a huge success in the Bamboozler Movie Project.
It takes a village, it takes a community, it takes persons to get a success story recorded. So tonight, the team Bamboozler decided to have a gratitude dinner with each and everyone that was part of the Bamboozler team.
In prelude to her birthday coming up on the 27th of April, there will be a private screening at the Genesis Cinema at the Grand Mall in Douala, as well as other projects.
We also have upcoming projects. We have a refugee-themed movie that we will be casting, and I have a surprise for the youth of Cameroon that I would announce on Wednesday, April 27, which happens to be my birthday.
Bamboozler was premiered in Cameroon, according to Dr. Belinda, to harness the Cameroonian film industry so that the world will know that Cameroonians can produce great content and valorize it.
And the president of the Cameroon Football Federation, Samuel Eto'o, has announced the filing of a complaint to FIFA against defamatory statements and abuses of the Algerian Football Federation. This is following the various outings of Algerians and head coach of their national team since the indomitable Lions of Cameroon crushed their dreams of qualifying for the 2022 World Cup. Join Gong completes the story.
Algeria versus Cameroon, the unbelievable slippage of Jamel Belmadi, which is weighing down on the Algerians. After the defeat of Algeria on March 29 at the Mustafa Chaker Stadium in Blida by Cameroon, the Desert Foxes are having a hard time digesting the bitter pill. The head coach of the Algerian national team once more broke his silence, lashing out harsh words towards Gambian referee Bakary Gassama. During an interview broadcast by the television channel of the Algerian Football Federation, the coach uttered tribalistic inclined statement against the central referee of the above-mentioned encounter, Gambian-born Bakary Papa Gassama. Coach Belmadi, who won the African Champions title in 2019, believes his selection suffered from the referee's dubious mistakes, going further to insinuate a plot against the Algerian national team. Responding to these defamatory accusations, the president of the Cameroon Football Federation, Samuel Eto'o, via a press release yesterday, announced that FECAFOOT will be filing a complaint to FIFA's Ethics Committee. FECAFOOT equally condemned the verbal abuse its officials suffered in the hands of the Algerians in Doha on April 1, 2022. Meantime, Algerian newspaper El Kabar reports that FIFA's disciplinary committee has imposed a fine of 3,000 Swiss francs on Algeria following the report by the referee of the match, Bakary Gassama. The Algerian head coach and his team are likely to face more sanctions from FIFA and CAF.
We've come to the end of today's edition of Prime News on My Media Prime Television. My name is Fon Quinter. Coming up next is Prime Hour with Leonard and his team. Have a great evening in the company of more programs on the African Eye. Good night.